There's going to be a lot of changes upcoming in Phasmophobia here this year, so let's take a look at what some of these are, and it's including changes to leveling rates, when and how you unlock items, and we also have more info on the brand new maps that are coming. So I'll talk about everything, give you my thoughts on it, and leave a comment below and let me know what you are looking forward to the most. So this is all stuff coming from the dev logs, dev previews, different things like that. It's all on Steam if you want to. I'll also leave a link to all the notes, and let's go through what some of these say. So leveling rates are currently too slow. Dev said that they originally made the leveling rate slightly slower so that they could increase pace if need be, which is why it takes a while at first. So they apparently planned on adjusting it. They're gonna be doing exactly that with less required experience per level across the board. It seems to be like a pretty good change. There was a lot of complaints on it. Now they also say that equipment tier unlocks are too linear and too slow. Not alongside the progression rate changes, they're going to change tier unlocks so that multiple are unlocked at once instead of only one. This means you'll have more choice on which equipment you want to upgrade first and which you want to save for later. They also said that they're going to be increasing the cost of some of the upgrades, as at the moment players can unlock almost everything straight away, when some upgrades should be something that you save up for. So like I said, I think it's overall a good thing that they do want to increase the leveling rates. I ran a poll on my channel as well, and overwhelmingly people said that it was slow to level up, which I can agree with. I don't personally have an issue with the current leveling rates. I didn't see it as a problem, but I've been playing this game a long time, so I can level up faster than somebody who just started getting the game. And I do a lot of like no sanity, no evidence, where if you were just playing like professional, it would take a long time to level up everything. So I think it's going to be hopefully like a pretty good mix with all of that. The part that's really interesting is unlocking multiple tiers of items at first. So it seems like, for instance, when you unlock the EMF Reader upgrade, for example, that you will immediately have the chance to buy tier 2, and then once you get that, you could buy tier 3. Like that was the path you wanted to go towards. It's all there. Very curious as to how that's going to work. I think overall that it is smart, because especially if you want to prestige a lot, like level 90 for the tier 3 crucifix, you really don't get a lot of use out of it if you did want to prestige. So having the option to pick what you want to upgrade, because some might be more useful than others. For instance, I don't really use sound sensors, so I may put that money towards upgrading like the dots, specifically at least the tier 2, or maybe even like the salt or the head cam, just stuff that may be more useful for other people later. I don't see a huge issue with that. I think it's good that they want to give more customability with what you, I don't know if that's a word, customization, I guess choices. Either way, I'm curious about how much it's going to cost, because it seems like it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because if you take away the leveling rates because it's going too fast, and you say, well, yes, I mean, it's exactly the same way for me. If this minute I can unlock something, I can immediately buy it because I have a bunch of money saved up. I think it's good that they want to make it to where it's not just, hey, you unlock it, you buy it, but does then it get grindy again? Kind of the same with the leveling, or what's the offset there? So I'm curious to see how it's going to be implemented. Hopefully it's implemented well. I do like the fact that you can buy it. I'm going to guess they're going to raise the price a lot for like tier 3 upgrades, but it will be good to have a lot of choices. Like if you did unlock everything within like first 20 levels, and then you had to spend a lot of money to upgrade it. But is that going to be something that people complain about next? Probably, but if it's there, we'll see how it comes out. I'm curious though if this will still be hard for experienced players to level up things as opposed to newer players. But the options for newer players to, hey, we really want to prioritize increasing our dots level because we really want to buy the tier 2 dots first because tier 1 sucks. I think it's good to have that option with placating towards like your style as to go with leveling up. They're also going to be changing prestiges. So Dev said that prestiges are a completely optional part of progression. However, they understand that there aren't many incentives right now to encourage players to prestige. So they say that with new player models, they will be adding unique prestige related unlocks for players to purchase with in-game money, such as accessories for your player model or a cool new jacket. They also state that coming soon, for each prestige, player will be able to choose one of the following: a sum of extra money to kickstart their equipment loadouts or to save for their future upgrades, or a small amount of experience boost for that prestige only, allowing players to level up slightly faster but have to manage their money better. Overall, I think these are a couple good things to give more incentives to prestige. I like prestige just because I want to see the number go up, and it's kind of fun to just do a reset every now and then. It's not fun to have to unlock everything again, and I don't really get to use like tier 3 items all that much. But then again, you know, it's kind of catering toward my play style where I don't necessarily need all the tier 3 items. It's nice that they're adding more customization options. I'm really looking forward to being able to customize your character and having it set up the way you like. Really looking forward to seeing how that goes. But being able to choose between increased experience or increased money, you know, I see nothing wrong with that. Personally, I'll probably pick increased experience over money, but I guess we'll see how hard it is to manage upgrades. So now let's go and look at some of the proposed evidence changes, and it's going to start with dots. So the dev said tier 1 dots is slightly too hard to use, so we'll be making it brighter and increasing the range of light that it emits. Perfect. I hate tier 1 dots. I think they suck. I do think they are very dim. So brightening it will be good. Increasing the range of light it emits, perfect as well. So you can get more coverage for the room. Hopefully that'll make it at least a little bit better. I like the idea of having to hold the dots like a flashlight, but it doesn't really seem like that's the best use of it. It's better to place it like on an object, such as like a desk or something that has more range in the room. I really wish one change that they did with dots that would make it so much better is being able to place it on the tripod. I don't see why you can't, but it gives a tripod an extra use rather than just for a video camera, and I think that would make the tier 1 dots at least a little bit more easy to place the coverage that you want. But either way, it's great to see that they do want to brighten it, increase its range, hopefully make it a little bit more easier to use. Next, the devs talk about the EMF reader, and they say that the tier 1's needle often gets too close or even goes past the 5 mark during events and hunts, so they're going to be changing it to make sure that people are not mistaking the needle going 5 during that for evidence. Tier 3 is also going to receive a new sound for the EMF 5 reading and making it easier for evidence without having to pick it up to verify. They also said additionally they'll be changing where the tier 3 sensor reads for PC players. This will make the directional indicator more accurate and feel more intuitive to read. So overall, all of these changes I think are going to be very good. Let's start with the tier 1 needle change. I think it's perfect. I noticed when I was like recording these videos, like it seems to me like the needle gets really close to 5 or like hits it during events and hunts. I know from playing the game for so long, you can't get an EMF 5 while it's malfunctioning during an event or a hunt, and mostly ghost events are going to be EMF 4, but it did seem to hit 5 a lot, and I really see how new players, because the game doesn't tell you this, how it could be confused for EMF 5. So I think that is a great change. Tier 3 getting a new sound, perfectly fine. You could kind of pick up on it, but they were all very similar to each other. So if it is much different to be more clear, I think that's good. The directional one is very interesting. I noticed personally when I was using the tier 3 EMF reader, if it was on the ground and you saw where the direction was going, it didn't necessarily mean that that was correct. That threw me off a few times. So hopefully that's the fix that they're talking about, where it'll be the same whether you have it in your hand or on the ground. That'll be good. Now the devs are going to talk about the thermometer, and there's some really big changes to this. So the devs said that the tier 1 never had its randomness to the readings, which made it more accurate than the other tiers. They're going to be implementing a slight fluctuation on readings to reduce its effectiveness. Tier 2 and tier 3 will be adjusted so that after the initial hold to scan, continuing to hold the use button will keep refreshing the temperature reading every second or so. Tier 3 will have its randomness reduced further to make it even better than tier 2. So overall, probably a much needed change for tier 1. The fact that it was not random and so accurate literally made it the best tier of thermometer to use. The question is, will you still be able to get the ghost room fast seeing the initial drop? Now, the randomness shouldn't ever hit freezing. So if it's just like a few degrees off, which you could see at times, which wasn't a big deal, you would still know where the ghost room was. But when you see it in the house, is it going to like go up and down like every few seconds, or will you see an immediate down? The ghost, that's just probably something we're gonna have to find out. So if you're still holding the tier 1 thermo and then you go into the ghost room and see the immediate drop, and that's how you know where the ghost room is, if it's not really that random, like going up and down constantly, I don't really see where it's gonna be like even worse. I think it'll still be useful finding ghost room. Now the tier 2 and tier 3 hold to scan, and if you hold it, it's gonna give constant readings, probably like the one before the Ascension update. I think that's perfect. That's what I thought that both of those should do, because having to hold it to scan it to get a reading each time was just annoying. That's why it made the tier 1 thermo better, because really you're only using it to find the ghost room and to find if it's freezing. And tier 1 did that perfectly because it had that constant, steady to where you would see the drop in the temperature. Tier 2 and tier 3, well, you still have to hold it, and that might be kind of annoying, and seeing how fast it does upgrade or update, we'll see its use. So it's kind of going to be a wait and see, because if tier 1 is still good at finding the ghost room, I still wouldn't see a reason we should prioritize upgrading a thermo over something like an EMF reader or dots or spirit box, something that's going to have it be way more useful, because tier 1 thermo still just set it and forget it, and then you're fine, just as with anything else, because it seems like it doesn't change the amount of time it takes to get freezing. So like if it takes 10 minutes for your game to get freezing temps, it's going to be the same whether you do tier 1 or tier 2 or tier 3. I think if they had it to where the different tiers you would get that faster, I think that's where the real big upgrade could be with, because you all probably have seen where you will have the tier 1 thermo on the ground and you'll see it hovering above the 32 degrees or 0 degrees, and it's like right there, and then maybe like 3 minutes later it'll finally go down to freezing. But it seems like for the thermometer it's still going to be the same no matter what tier you use. It's going to take the same amount of time to see freezing. Maybe changing that will also help it be better. I really don't know how you can do that. It's just an idea. Now a change that breaks my heart. So they say that they'll be flipping tier 1 and tier 2 around so that players start with the flashlight and unlock the glow sticks second. This should feel like a more useful progression than it currently is. 100% agree with that statement. Tier 1 glow stick is, I used it all throughout, and mostly because it was great light source to save you during a hunt. And that's where it really sucks for beginner players, but it also causes them to have to now realize, hey, I got to turn off off my electronics during hunts. So hopefully it works out well for that with them. But it does make sense to start with the tier 2 UV light now and then the glow stick second, which was kind of how it was for the Ascension update. I still feel like the glow stick will probably still be the better option, mostly for using it as a light source during hunts to light the way, to get away without the ghost seeing you. Tier 3 UV light is still very good as well. I just love the glow stick for really that reason. Great to use during a hunt. Firelights and igniters, they say that they'll be increasing the duration and light range for all tiers, giving new ways to walk around in dark areas. So nothing really to say here, all positives. Good job increasing the light range, and it's again more ways to help get away from ghosts during hunts and lighting the way easier for you to see. Now with the headgear, we got a huge quality of life change coming up. They're going to be adding an additional key binding for toggling on and off your headgear slot, as many players have expressed that the current method isn't ideal, and all 3 tiers of headgear will have a new sound when being interfered with by the ghost to let players know they should turn it off during hunts. Tier 3 night vision also doesn't currently have any paranormal interference, so they'll be adding some to help reduce the effectiveness during hunts, keep it on par with other equipment. Another way to toggle on and off headgear is good. The sound playing to know when it's being interfered with is really good because it can be really easy to forget you have it on, especially if you have tier 1. The tier 2 light is like good. I like to use that instead of a flashlight. I've been doing that a lot lately, but it's kind of hard to tell like in heat of the moment because it's not like huge bright light. So it's going to be good to know, hey, you need to turn it off. And then the tier 3 paranormal interference, I thought it was supposed to have some, so I was surprised that it really kind of didn't. So it makes sense that it would do that to help reduce the effectiveness of it because it is pretty good. I know a lot of players hate the green, kind of turns them off on it. It's not very good to look at. I never had an issue with it. Next, the motion sensor, tier 3's truck map indicator will be changed to be more accurate and show what is detecting clear. Great for people who like to stay in the truck, but I don't really spend time there, so probably not a big deal for me. Parabolic mic to aid hearing impaired users, they'll be making the red LED light on the side of the tier 1 paramic flash when it picks up sounds. That's great. I definitely think it's awesome. Good quality of life change. The photo cam tier 2 will receive a slight buff to the photo taking speed, and they'll be fixing, for they say the final time, the oversight of taking the ghost picture with the full book pesky haunted cameras. There's still some bugs with photos, but with a major photo overhaul coming soon, a lot of that will be fixed as a byproduct. However, they're still looking at increasing the consistency of photo take. More benefits of upgrading the camera tiers will come with the new system, including the removal of failed photos, which is something everybody has been looking forward to. All right, buffing the photo taking speed of tier 2 is fine. I didn't have an issue with it before, but again, I'm not going to complain about what's a nice fix. I believe they fixed taking the ghost photo when you have a major or when you have a full book when I see it. They've been saying that forever, and I'm like, oh, hey, let me see if it's true. Oh, nope, you can still take a ghost photo. Which if you don't know what that means, essentially, if you have the objective, take a photo of the ghost, and you have your full 10 photos, if you just keep taking picture of the ghost, it'll count for the objective. You just won't have the ghost photo. They've tried to fix that forever, but you can still do that now. So, and it's really kind of good because if you do take a full, 3-star photo book, and that's the last thing you do, just take the camera during the hunt, and if you're good at looping, you can just like keep taking pictures constantly of it to try to get one to just count. And it's a lot of fun, but I hope it's not really as intended. We'll see if they actually fix it this time. Of course, removing photos will be great. It's very interesting to see that it'll be tied to the tiers of the photos, so I'll be looking forward to seeing how that goes. Sanity medication, they'll be speeding up the sanity restoration effect here too to make the upgrade more worthwhile. It makes sense. I don't really use the medication that much, but I don't really have an issue with the speed either. So, but hey, any buff to it is good. Sound sensor, they like to add a mute button to each sensor in the truck so you can concentrate on watching the dots on the monitor in safety and silence. Sounds good. It'd be nice to turn it off because I know that people who stay in the truck all the time probably get scared of the ghost noises. No, I'm just messing. If you do stay in the truck, hey, there is a great job of that, but to being able to turn it off is good. All right, now with the monkey paw, the most recent change for the monkey paw affecting the see ghost wish, we're going to make the darkness effect start when the hunt starts so you can actually see the ghost during the event. This is a great idea. So if you weren't aware, they changed it back, I think with the start of the Ascension update, that when you wish to see the ghost, it spawns at the actual ghost location it currently is instead of spawning right in front of you. The problem was now, it always had that vision darkening effect. So you would wish to see the ghost, and if you were in a big room or it happened to be like on the other side, you had a hard time seeing it to get the ghost photo. So it makes sense to do it when the ghost starts so you can actually get the ghost photo. Next, devs gave an update on Point Hope saying that the final areas are being populated with new assets and they will soon be playtesting it. Here's a screenshot that they have of the new game room, which, side note, I would love to play games in a real life haunted lighthouse. That sounds like a super cool experience. The devs have said that the games room will feature loads of new assets, a pool table, fishing rod, large armchairs, chessboard and a perfect looping spot provided by a large central pillar. And you know me, I'm all about looping, so circle looping around the pillar sounds like that's going to be really interesting. And another interesting note with this is the game of chess will be playable. Now, I know nothing about chess, so I will be no good at this, but if you and your friend play chess, you can get into a heated game until the ghost, decides to just knock the board right off of the table. Next are new looks at the farmhouses. This right here is Grafton, which you can see is super run down compared to the current one, and I love the way that this looks. The atmosphere seems super creepy and like what an abandoned farmhouse in the woods should look like with everything falling apart. This right here is the upstairs, which the devs said one of the upstairs rooms is so run down that the wall has started to cave in, creating a new doorway for players. Items are scattered along the floor, and the bed has been partly dismantled. Again, going with the abandoned look, it looks like it's being executed so well, and it's going to fit the vibe of an abandoned farmhouse so well. I am really looking forward to that. And I love the farmhouses in the game as they currently are. I think they're very cool locations, very creepy, and it looks like they're going to make that even better. Now, what we did not see with this was any more update on Bleasdale, but the devs did give a glimpse of what Bleasdale will look like in the last preview. So if you want to see that, go ahead and click or tap the screen now and let me know your thoughts on everything. Thank you, everybody, and thank you so much to the channel members. Much appreciate you all. Thank you for the support. Happy hunting, everybody, and I'll go see you in the other dev preview.